Uh, I'm irritated today. I had brake issues with the vehicle earlier in the week. Had that pretty much under control, so I thought. I got on the Highway 10, going down the road, and my brake pedal, it just seemed like there was nothing there when I went to hit the brakes. So I thought I'm going to pull over, check things out, and if it's still acting up, I'm going to have the vehicle either towed home or find another way of getting it, whether it be limping it home or, whatever. Like, I'll find a way to get it home. Well, in the meantime, I went through it neutral, started coasting my way up into the turn lane. I was doing 45, so I'm like, well, I can coast it. Did everything just right. Well, in the meantime, I felt my wheel grab. Whether it be, I don't know if it was in a little patch of snow, if it was a caliper that grabbed and pulled, what it was, but it was enough to where I hit a snowbank. Vehicle kind of went up on the right side because there's enough snow there where it pulled the vehicle up. And there's question whether or not I hit a light pole because there was one there. But with the way everything was going, according to the officer, well, you hit the light pole. There's some glass up there. I'm like, well, how do you know that glass isn't from the vehicle? There was damage done on my vehicle from before. I said, how do you know? Well, he's, well, I just know. Whatever. Minnesota's a no fault state anyway. If you get into an accident in Minnesota, and whether it's your fault or not, it's not your fault. They look at it as if you cause an accident, you will not get ticketed. I never received one today, and other accidents I've been in Minnesota in the past, never received it, even if it was my fault, because they say Minnesota's a no fault state. Even if you're the cause of the accident, they will not ticket you because they figure, like, in some cases, they look at it as, well, it's an act of God, or it was out of somebody's control on, whatever the situation may be, they just look at it as no fault. So I'm sitting there looking at the vehicle. Got to the driver's. This is before the cop showed up. I went and looked around the vehicle to see if I could dig it out, whatnot, and the vehicle wasn't going anywhere. Looked at the passenger side front tire. Sure enough, tie rods broke. Tire rods came loose. Tire was sitting, like, leaning into the vehicle at like pretty much a 45-degree angle or close to it. It was sitting cockeyed into the wheel well. Bottom of the tire sticking out. I get irritated because I'm like, man, I just put $40 worth of gas in the vehicle just the other day. There's $40 that I'm not getting back. On top of that, back in January, I just had a tire put on the vehicle. $200 practically. It was, I think, hundred and some odd dollars anyway. Just under 200. Like, well, there goes that thought. I didn't have to spend practically 200. I've got videos posted of when I was in the garage having the tire work done, getting it replaced. It was Fargo Tire. I wanted to say OK Tire, but it was Fargo Tire. Well, needless to say, the cop wasn't too big of a hurry to tow it. Like, somebody told me, well, sometimes they they don't really have a choice. They got rules to follow, things like that, which, I can understand. They want to keep things flowing. They have certain guidelines to meet. And it's, I'm pretty much over the vehicle. Had been for a while. It needed a lot of work. Lower ball joints needed to be put into it, which I had lower ball joints for the vehicle, but I left them in between the seats up on the floor. And then it needed, well, like tie rods, which that eventually broke today. The minor things it needed was tune up, oil change. Uh, there were little things that it needed. It needed a bulb for the brake light on the driver's side. It was going to need a complete brake job eventually and have all that redone. Because right at the time, we were rigging it. My neighbor was patchworking it to get it to work. So yeah, it was a bunch of hillbilly work going on to the vehicle that probably shouldn't have, but what do you do? And got roadside assistance on the vehicle, and the cop, I'm on the shoulder of the road, and the cop, oh, we got to get out of here. I said, well, I've got roadside assistance. He says, how long is it going to be? I said, I haven't been able to make the phone call. And I said, by the time this happened, the time this one lady stopped and called 911 and let them know, hey, got a guy on the shoulder, there was an accident, blah 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 blah. Well, by the time, and she sat to make sure everything was safe, blocked the turn lane, had her hazards on. She's cool as beans about stuff. She was cool as beans. I'd have liked to meet her my wife, I tell you that much. She was not only attractive, intelligent, but her personality was just spot on. Just the best personality you could want. I sat back thinking to myself, yeah, what I'd give to have a wife like you. Man, I ain't married and I don't think I ever want to be, but it's not the. I'm getting off subject here. My whole thought is I'm out of a vehicle now. That vehicle was a POS. I'll just say that. Pilo something, 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 something. So in that sense, I'm not butthurt over the fact that the vehicle got impounded. Doesn't bother me. Couldn't care. Where I get a little irritated is I had scrap and other stuff in the vehicle that would have helped pay a bill. Small bill, but it would have helped pay a bill. Well, that's gone. I went and took my wire cutters out there. I'll show you them here in a second. Okay, I'm back. This is my wire cutters. And yes, with them, I made sure I kept them out of the vehicle. You know when you get, it's the thicker cord, real thick from like washers, dryers, just appliances as a whole, when you get the thicker wire, or you get other, other devices that, or you find just cordage as a whole that's thicker. Your side cutters just won't do a job on snipping them. That's where these ones come in handy. They'll go through copper and aluminum. So I usually use them to cut the thick stuff, cut the crap, that type stuff. And they had to come up now. Granted, they're like, I think $10, $11 online, but still, I ain't letting some Yahoo take them out of there and keeping them. They're mine. So now my biggest thing is I'm out of a vehicle until further notice. I don't have the financial means to replace the vehicle. I told the cop, I said I've got no money to tow it. So the only way I can tow it is by calling up roadside assistance and having it done, and it goes on my insurance. So that's the only way I can do it right now, because I said my trailer park white ass ain't got the money. Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent. Not in this junction time. Think about who said that one. Mr. George Bush said that one back in, I think it was the 80s. Senior, not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent. Not this. I think he was going off of some tax related. I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was taxes or something on raising them or something. Anyway, I'm getting off track again. I'm keeping my wire cutters. I don't give it in. They'll come in handy. Like I told the cop, I said I don't have the financial means to go ahead and just up and tow a vehicle home. That's $100 bill. Granted, I got the money, but if I do that, that's taken away from rent. And I'd rather lose a vehicle than lose a home. I'd rather have a roof over my head than have a vehicle, if you know what I mean. I'd rather take city bus or what, or call a cab or ride a bike. Anything over, hey, guess what, Mr. Whoever, Mr. Bossman, whoever, I have no place to live because I had to have a vehicle. I'll go without a vehicle. We got two bikes out here. If you ever watch, I don't know, maybe some of you have, maybe you haven't. We got trikes. Two trikes. One's black, one's yellow. 3-speed. Now, if you ever get onto, if you look up Roadhog on YouTube, he got the trike he gets around on. Well, we got same setup. It's just we got two of them. The black one, the chain needs to be put onto it. And it's basically when you ride the bike, the chain has a habit of falling off a lot. So I'm going to have to look into that and see why it's doing that. The yellow bike, when you pedal it, the pedal, it gets so tight you can hardly pedal the bike. So it's more than likely inside is a bunch of crap. I figure if I even get the black one going and fudge it on the yellow one, I got ways I can get stuff going. But if I'm going to get back into driving a vehicle, I have to find a way to get financial assistance to get into something. And I can get into a vehicle cheap. I know a car lot and I know a guy that'll get me into a vehicle for about $2,000 or less. He's got some vehicles for $1,200. The vehicle that Explorer I had, $900 I paid for it. And now the $900 I paid for it was, remember when the whole stimulus checks were coming in from when President Trump started the whole spiel, and then when Biden got into office, the stimulus checks still came up to a certain, I forget what month it was, but there was the $600 one, which I never got that $600 one. I don't know why, but I never received it. But there was a $1,400 one, and I think an $1,100. I don't remember if there was the fourth one, but I remember a $600, an $1,100, and I think a $1,400, something on that line. Well, that's the money we used to buy this Explorer, $900 cash. Well, I knew what I was getting into. Now I just need to see if I can raise me $1,100, $1,200, roughly, so I can go down to this one car lot and spring for another vehicle and go from there. So if anybody wants to help me do that, there's going to be a PayPal tip jar link in the description below. Not that, I'm not going to sit here and ask for help. It ain't my gig. I don't like to ask for help and I don't want to do it. All I'm going to say is if you decide and want to help, that's all I'm going to say. But I know if I want to get into another vehicle sometime soon, $1,100 would be appreciated at least if I can try to earn $1,100, I can get into something. But anyway, the vehicle tie rods broke, caused a bunch of stuff there, whatnot. So yeah, Ed's Towing's got the vehicle in their impound lot. Fuck it. At least I know I shouldn't assume. I was gonna say at least I know if they get it and they crush it, the metal, and that's gonna get recycled, but I don't know that. I'm not gonna say because I don't know how they operate. Anyway, that's my thing. I'm out of a vehicle. It's not that I ain't got a way of getting around because I got ways I can get to the store and all that stuff and get stuff done. It's just I'm at a loss. I feel like the world's against me.